Tropical development chances continue to go higher in our area, and it is going to be a wet and windy forecast for many of us for the week ahead. Your forecast across the Caribbean and the Bahamas starts right now.
This is Meteo Mundo.
Hi friends, Rusty back here at Meteo Mundo. We're your home for Caribbean weather. Fantastic to see you on a Monday. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a great weekend. A lot to get into in this jam-packed video, including, of course, all the newest information on Mr. Orange here, the 40% chance of development in the Southwest Caribbean from the National Hurricane Center. I've got all the newest information. We'll break it down, look at the models, how this could evolve as we go through the week. It's been a very active day across a lot of our region. We've had some very heavy rain and storms and some really gusty winds, and it is going to be a wet and just kind of active forecast for many of us as we move through this week. So we're going to get started right away. We'll begin with the surface analysis here. A couple of things to point out. First of all, you see this frontal boundary, which is draped over portions of the Greater Antilles, and to the south of that, it has brought some active weather, some very heavy rain, some storms, and some gusty winds. You couple that with not one, not two, but three different tropical waves which are impacting our area right now, and we're just going to continue to stay very wet and stormy through a lot of the Caribbean. To the north of that boundary into the Bahamas, the gale conditions are beginning to pick up where the gale watch goes into effect tomorrow. We're talking about 25 to 30 knot winds. There's even a fourth tropical wave out here in the eastern Atlantic now. As we get into late October, we don't really look for the waves coming off the West African coast to really develop as they move across the main development region of the Atlantic. Typically, as we get towards kind of the end of hurricane season, that development occurs a lot closer to home, and that's what we'll be watching for here in the Western Caribbean as we roll through the week. Let's get started where I mentioned earlier here, just south of this frontal boundary. First of all, really breezy conditions for the Turks and Caicos and portions of the southeast Bahamas, but they're on the dry side of this boundary. You go to the south, and it's numerous showers and storms and some very heavy rain for portions of the Dominican Republic for today. As a matter of fact, there's either moderate or severe excessive rainfall alerts in effect for the northern portions of the DR for today. Santiago de los Caballeros and Samana under the moderate risk, Puerto Plata under the severe risk. And you can really see again the moisture-laden air cropping up, some very heavy rainfall. It's easily 2 to 4 inches or 50 to 100 millimeters in some spots. Some of this activity has been able to develop farther south, so now it's really the central and the southern sides of both Haiti and the DR for the heavy rainfall potential. Look at all the lightning strikes as well. Again, this is not just some rain. These are some good convection and thunderstorms here, which is producing that locally heavy rainfall. And it's kind of this swath from west to east, if you will, for these storms to be developing on the south side of that frontal boundary. So eastern Cuba, we'll get into the forecast with Jamaica as well. Storms are generally just north of Puerto Rico and the U.S. British Virgin Islands at the hour, but they are trying to work their way to the south just in the last couple of frames here on this late Monday afternoon. You can see some of those beginning to develop from Yauco all the way up towards Aguadilla, San Sebastian, Mayaguez, all with the opportunity for passing showers. And more rain is likely to move into Puerto Rico tonight, and then it just gets wetter starting tomorrow. Same thing for my friends in the U.S. and British Virgin Islands. Some gusty winds near St. Croix. It's been relatively quiet for today rainfall-wise for St. John and St. Thomas and Anagua and places like Virgin Gorda and Road Town, but more wet weather is on the way, more active weather here. We'll continue to see some passing showers for the Lesser Antilles for today. They're very spotty in nature, but a bigger batch of rain is going to be moving into this area starting tomorrow as well. Rain chances will really be going up. So if you haven't gotten rain recently in Anguilla, St. Bart, St. Martin, Barbuda, Antigua, St. Kitts and Nevis, Montserrat, Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, we're going to get a better opportunity here. There's been some pockets of rain today, just nothing too widespread. Same thing for Martinique and St. Lucia. Now, it's interesting because the most active weather today in the Lesser Antilles is actually a little bit farther south in the Windward Islands, but it's still pretty spotty in nature. but this will be the driest part of the Lesser Antilles over the next 3 days. So the farther south you go, St. Lucia, Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, yes, you could still see a few showers and storms, but I do expect more rain to fall the farther north that you go, and we'll be just a little bit quieter here. Still could see a few storms. You can see a little bit of lightning there just southeast of Tobago, but just not going to be extremely widespread. We're mainly dry right now in the ABC Islands, Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao. Still could see some windy conditions there. We'll swing back over to Jamaica, where we've had some rain today. And again, it's been spotty, but there's been some areas of heavier rain. Love to hear from my friends in Jamaica. Let me know in the comments section below what's been happening in your area. If you live in the Dominican Republic, let me know what's been going on with the heavier rainfall there. Again, as they go into your area, you live there, let me know in the comments section below. Just verify for me and everyone else here at the Meteo Mundo community what you've been seeing. But we've had some wet weather here through Jamaica today. We'll continue to just see the opportunity for healthy rain chances and rain totals for the next several days. A lot of moisture-laden air in this part of the Caribbean. So from Kingston, Port Moore, Spanish Town, and Black River, Montego Bay, on over towards Ocho Rios and Port Maria, all solid rain chances. It's been a little bit more widespread even in the Cayman Islands for today. You can see the thick cloud coverage, the showers and storms over Grand Cayman. They're trying to drift over Little Cayman and Cayman Brac at the hour as well. So again, we're getting more active weather here in the northwest side of the Caribbean. This was an area that had dried out a bit, or a touch at least for a time, but now that moisture-laden air is churning back in with that Central American gyre. And I'll talk much more about that in a minute. But some of this richer moisture is trying to get towards Cancun and Cozumel. Generally speaking, the farther south that you go, the better rain chances you're going to have here. Sorry about that. Swing back over here just to show you there's Tulum on over towards the Chechemal area there, southern sides of Quintana Roo. Now, we've had some active weather again for today across Belize. It's mainly been coming in the morning hours here, and we've still had some cloud coverage and some rain this afternoon, Belize City, Dangriga, but earlier today is when we had more rounds of heavier rain, and I got some pictures and videos to show you of that. We'll start off with what Kevin sent me from Belize City this morning right there along the coast. If you look off the coastline, you can see those really thick moisture-laden clouds are just hovering right at the horizon. He said just waves of heavy rain came in through the morning hours, and this is the end result. Richard sent me some street flooding out of Belize City, so near the same location, you get the end results here. You can see that car driving through some of that. You can see the waves there right along the street. So some urban flooding going on with some of the pockets of heavy rain that Belize had earlier today. And they've just had a little bit of, flooding from time to time post Nadine here for the last couple of weeks. We continue to see numerous showers and storms developing here as well. Places like Roatan and Guanaja off of the coastline of Honduras, continuing with thick cloud coverage and from time to time pockets of really heavy rain. And I've got a couple of videos to show you from Guanaja as well. This is from Jennifer Mendoza. She's in the northeast Bight area of Guanaja, and you can just see the rain is falling so heavily right now and the clouds are so thick the visibility really isn't even that good. But pockets of very heavy rain, several inches of rain in an hour can fall when you're talking about this moisture-laden air like this. So appreciate Jennifer sending in that video. And Cecile Moore from the Mangrove Bay area of Guanaja sends about the same kind of view. Again, it's hard to see in the distance with the thick cloud coverage, and that rain is just coming on down. So appreciate both Jennifer and Cecile letting us know what's been going on in Guanaja lately as well. Appreciate all of our friends across the Meteo Mundo community sending in those pictures and videos. Really helps tell the story. Showers and storms will continue to bubble up into Honduras and Nicaragua. Then you get back down into the Southwest Caribbean, Costa Rica, Panama. It's going to be wet, but this is the area, again, where we're going to first see the opportunity for tropical development. It's not going to happen in the next couple of days, but you can see those thunderstorms are developing here on the eastern side of that Central American gyre. And again, that is a broad inherent spin this time of the year over Central America, where on the periphery of that, we can spin up some tropical activity if the conditions are right. We've already seen that twice this year so far, and there's an opportunity that we get that third development here for the week. As we get into the northwest and central Bahamas, It's going to be very dry, but it's going to be very, very windy. Again, a gale watch will go into effect for all of the Bahamas and the Turks and the Caicos starting tomorrow. And the waves are going to be a big story. This is a snapshot of the Bahamas waves on Wednesday afternoon. And you can see that max on the right-hand side of your screen. Anywhere that you're in the yellows, you're above a 10-foot wave height. So the max is right around 12-foot waves. We're going to have strong east to northeast winds, 25 to 30 knots sustained on average. This is going to cause some coastal flooding. Watch out for some of the low-lying coastal roads, especially on the eastern sides of the islands. Seas will start off at 5 to 8 feet, but are forecast to build to 10 to 15 feet. And as I mentioned in yesterday's video, mariners are urged to get into port today on this Monday and stay in port through Friday across all of the chain of the Bahamas back down into the Turks, the Caicos. But these winds are gonna be howling through the Bahamas for the rest of the week. And there will be other areas where the winds are gonna be a big factor as well outside of any potential tropical development. Let's get into the forecast, friends. As we do so, again, appreciate you guys taking a quick second and liking this video and then subscribing to Meteo Mundo if you haven't. Again, it really helps to support the channel, gets more eyes on us. We need to continue to grow. Appreciate you guys taking those quick steps to help us out. Sharing this with your family and friends, anyone who think will get something out of it, and then finding ways to support the channel. You can find those in the comments section below, down in the description as well. Okay, so again, we've got an active forecast. We're gonna get into this, and then we're going to talk about your island by island rain chance as well, because areas that will not be impacted by this area in orange will still have some very active weather across this week. So again, Hurricane Center has upped the chance to a 40% chance, and more than likely that will just stair step higher and higher and higher as we go through the week. I do want you to notice that it starts here, and then the general trend from the Hurricane Center has this moving to the north or even to the north and to the northeast. And friends, I wish I could tell you that there was more agreement with the models today, but there's not. As a matter of fact, there's now more of a spread in the models in regards to development and especially in the movement. So we'll break this down for you guys. Now that is highly, we see this a lot, right? With systems that haven't developed yet, to get model changes run to run, and then, the different models having much different solutions. And that solution spread has become wider on this Monday. So a lot to talk about. I'm going to break it down for you guys. I really don't have a much better feel for where this is going to go compared to yesterday. So there's going to be a lot of areas that I'll be discussing for potential impacts, break down a couple of different things that I see out of this as well. But the first thing you'll notice on this GFS deterministic model is that, again, the deterministic model, we'll look at all the ensembles coming up, is now a little bit farther off towards the east, okay? Developing the storm beginning kind of on Halloween Thursday, and then into Friday, and then into the weekend. But it's farther east than where we were this time yesterday. Rather than being pointed closer to Jamaica, it's pointed a little bit closer to the Dominican Republic and Haiti and even Puerto Rico. Now, a couple of things to break out here and to point out as we get through here. First of all, this frontal boundary, which is bringing all the heavy rainfall to the north sides of the DR today, trying to drift into Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. And this is also going to bring the wet weather to the Leeward Islands. If I back this up, you'll just start to see here as we get into tomorrow, the 29th, and then Wednesday, the 30th, and then Thursday, the 31st, wet, 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 and windy, even outside of this development. So we could be talking about, even before this tropical system developing and emerging and getting into this area, the potential for some flooding rain. So I'm starting to get concerned about the excessive rainfall we could get out of the frontal boundary that's stalled out north of this area. And then if the tropical system does move this way, this could be problematic to flooding and landslides and mudslides and stuff like that, where we could already have several inches of rain on the ground. I mean, hard to tell, but 4 to 6 inches of rain even before the tropical system comes. In some spots, that's 100 to 150 millimeters. And then the developing storm coming in. And again, this would be Friday the 1st and into Saturday the 2nd, kind of ramping up right here over the Dominican Republic as we get into Monday the 4th. So about a week's time out here, all right? And again, I'll show you the winds coming up. But obviously this is a shift east compared to what we had yesterday on the GFS model. Now again, I want to be clear, without a low-level center of circulation developed yet, I do expect there to be inconsistencies in the models, both run to run, meaning the different model runs of the GFS, and then between the models, the GFS and the European. They're just a little bit farther apart in their solutions than what they were over the weekend as well, with the GFS now coming in a little bit farther off towards the east. It is absolutely plausible that this shifts back west over the next couple of days, or maybe even goes a little bit farther to the east. That's why we're not talking about exact locations yet here at Meteo Mundo. We still are in watch and wait mode. Until we get a true low level of circulation to form, we get an invest, we get the tropical models running, there's still a lot of uncertainty in movement. I'm still highly, confident that we are going to get a tropical system to develop because the models are still showing that. It's more about exactly where this goes rather than if it's going to develop. All right, let's take a look. First of all, I wanted to do this as well. Let me see here if this will cooperate. I was looking at this before I came on. These are the winds at the lower levels of the atmosphere, the 850 millibar range. Let me see if they'll pop on here and be nice. I do want you to notice that they're not surface winds, but the winds not too far up in the atmosphere, that they are still relatively mainly off to the east. Do you see these brighter colors here associated with that boundary? That's that wind energy, man. And there's a lot of lift in the atmosphere, right? That's why we could get all of this excessive rainfall before this even comes in. But it is curious that the GFS model, which shows you these strong easterlies here, is still able to bring this storm north and east, right? Even the surface winds will be mainly more out of the east. So if this was a really weak system, it could undercut these winds, right, in the atmosphere that are slightly higher than the surface. But if this storm is building and gaining some vertical height, it's almost got to be pushed a little bit west, I would assume. So it's almost like there's an incongruity here with the model itself as far as the wind fields it's painting on and then the movement of the storm. I'm not saying that I don't buy the fact that it could get as far east as the Dominican Republic, but the wind fields are a little bit more interesting, but they're also much different as we get into late October, early November compared to what we typically see. We're, again, seeing the jet stream go further off to the south. We're seeing boundaries slip farther off to the south. The wind fields are just a little bit more not as congruent as they typically are here for June, July, August, back into September, and even early October. So again, that's what the reflectivity looks like here. Let's go over to the wind fields. Now, yesterday we had a hurricane on the GFS model, this deterministic, just south of Jamaica, again, kind of like late Sunday into Monday. Time frame's still about the same, but let's take a look at what the wind field's going to do here. Might take just a little bit of time to wrap up. But we still need to pay attention throughout all the western and the central sides of the Caribbean and might extend this a little bit farther off towards the east. I'm going to show you the European model, which has a much different solution than the GFS, okay? But again, just letting the wind fields, and these would be the surface winds out of the same model I just showed you. It'll take just a second to fully get all the way into next Monday, about a week's time. But again, first of all, we can clearly see all of these winds and the purples and the pinks and the whites, 20, 25, 30, 35 miles an hour or higher, moving through the Bahamas, the Turks, the Caicos, and then brushing the northern sides of Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, and portions of the Leeward Islands. That's the wind that I'm talking about here, right? Then we get towards the end of this loop, and I'm gonna let it go one more time, and you can see the storm, really small here on the GFS. Now, there's something else I want to pick up on here as well. But the first thing we'll do is just take a quick look at what this latest run brings. Again, this would be, let's see here, Sunday the 3rd into early on Friday. So while I don't want to talk about a potential landfall in any one location yet, more than anything, this is just what is the size of this storm as far as intensity goes. Remember, we had a hurricane yesterday. Let's see what we got for today. This is more tropical storm strength. Let me bring it back out just a little bit stronger here. And again, query this. We have high-end, and I mean high-end tropical storm force winds. We don't have a hurricane any longer, and it's a really compact storm, all right? So again, this is the latest run of the GFS. Yesterday we were here, now we're south of the Dominican Republic. Remember we talked about the secondary storm that might try and form? That's the GFS trying to pick up on it. This would be kind of along that boundary, and you can see the winds here. But the good news is that on the latest run of the GFS, this also just tries to track back to the north and to the east. Remember we talked about potentially system number 2 developing in this area, and the GFS does pick up on that early next week, but also tries to shove it farther north and east. I'll be monitoring this, right? And it's interesting because when I show you the GFS model on Saturday, so we take it back 2 days, these are the ensemble members. Just wanted to show you a still frame, but before I showed you the loop, we can clearly see the development here in the Southwest Caribbean. But the question is this a secondary system, or does the GFS model have a faster solution now towards the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico early in the weekend? All right. This is the ensemble members. Remember, the deterministic doesn't pick up on this faster forward speed, but you can see on the ensemble members that instead of development here for a second system, you actually, as we get into Thursday, the first signs here, but watch some of these low-level centers, quicker development closer to Hispaniola and Puerto Rico. There they come. And then here's the slower solution back down towards Jamaica still. So generally, the GFS is more in line now with having one and not two different storms, although there still is a possibility that we get one to develop here. But look how widespread the variation and the solutions are on the ensemble members. You have one storm here early Monday morning, a week from now, that's just south of Jamaica, just like we had yesterday. Then you have the deterministic here, and then you have more ensemble members even farther north and east. A few of them are slightly more off to the west. So the GFS ensembles have a wider spread than what they had yesterday, okay? We'll see if they start to narrow that window down a little bit more, but that might not happen for a couple of days until we get a better low-level center to develop in the Southwest Caribbean. Want to really blow your minds? Let's look at the European model, okay? This is early Sunday with the low-level center plots on the European ensemble. All of the reds numbers that you see are low-level center plots from the ensembles. Again, first two digits are taken off. If it's 09, it's 1,009 millibars. If you see something like 95, that would be the first number taken off, a 995 millibar center. They are clustered farther south because the European is slower to develop, okay? But they're also farther west, right? A much closer cluster to Cuba, western sides of Haiti, but a lot towards Jamaica and south, even a few closer to Central America. The European model does have a few trying to develop that second system north of the Lesser Antilles, but all of them are rather weak. A couple on the northeast side are into the southeast Bahamas and the Turks and the Caicos. Almost hard to believe because of that frontal boundary to get that low-level center that far north by early on Sunday. I think this is a much more plausible solution. All right, European model. I'm going to step to this side because guess what? European model doesn't have it coming this way. It has it coming here and coming here. Watch it develop. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, into early on Tuesday. There's your big cluster right here. And again, it's about a day behind the GFS model. So instead of like Sunday, Monday, it's Monday, Tuesday. This is Tuesday morning. But look at the huge cluster here, okay? Sure, there's one down here, but bigger signal in the European model is farther west, even west of Jamaica, okay? Into the Northwest Caribbean. And then again, as I said, you've got one or two here with the secondary system. So you've got the GFS model right now coming here. You've got the European model coming north and to the west. There's not big agreement right now with the global models. And again, that's not atypical when we're talking about a still developing system. I wish they were a little bit tighter clustered, but they're just not right now. And that happens sometimes, all right? So listen, I've included the same areas in the quote unquote pay attention. There's absolutely nothing you should be doing, to prepare for the storm as of yet, except for watch and wait mode and making sure you stay informed, right? And of course, you can do that right here at Meteo Mundo. So Jamaica, Cayman Islands, Cuba, Haiti, the Dominican Republic. I did add Puerto Rico based on that GFS model, and then all of Central America. I know this is a wide area. Hopefully we'll be able to narrow it down a bit. But even outside of getting, again, the potential for the actual tropical system, the wind energy is going to be a big story, and the heavy rainfall as well. Look at these wave heights, guys. Look at this kicking in. There's your gale conditions and your double-digit wave heights of the Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos. And then you can see some fresh winds coming back into portions of the Caribbean as well, ABC Islands. And again, on the GFS model, everything just kind of turns around as that storm comes back north into the east. But small craft advisories and small craft exercise caution are going to be hoisted for numerous areas across the Caribbean and the Bahamas. Now, again, regardless of whether this disturbance and ultimately what's going to more than likely be Tropical Storm Patty or Patty of a name of some variety, moving north and northeast or even north and west, the Central American gyre is very active. So very heavy rainfall is likely for the coastlines of Quintana Roo and Belize and Guatemala and Honduras, and especially back down to the southern sides of Nicaragua, Panama, and Costa Rica. Secondary area heavy rain, again, near this stalled out boundary. We'll see if it drifts as far south as the Leeward Islands, the U.S. and British Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic and Haiti, eastern Cuba, Turks and Caicos as well. You get on the north side, you're drier. You get too far south towards the Windward Islands, you're a little bit drier as well, right? If we look at it here from the GFS model, same situation. It's very similar to what I just showed you on the European model here. Again, pockets of extremely heavy rainfall. Here in the Southwest Caribbean with the developing system, some of it will back build into Panama and Costa Rica. Just look how wet everything is going to be here. Same situation here, regardless of tropical development moving closer to the area, just like we had today in Belize. Showers and storms, rounds of showers and storms coming in. Wet, 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 wet here for the Caribbean coastline of Central America and the Yucatan. There you go, Grand Cayman towards Little Cayman and Cayman Brac up here. I don't think we're going to have that much of a difference, but some areas, 4 to 5 inches of rain just over the next 5 days. And by the way, this is only out until the wee hours of Saturday morning. There's your couple of inches of rain for my friends in Jamaica, which could see heavy rainfall every day. And you can see just off the coastline there, maybe 4 or 5 inches, 100 to 125 millimeters. Take a look at what the GFS model does with this stalled out boundary. All right, as I said, I am quite concerned, and let's be clear, this is before the GFS even brings in the tropical system to this area. You could have 5, 6, 7, 8 inches of rain, 100 to 200 millimeters, just because this stalled boundary is going to continue to promote huge areas of uplift in the atmosphere, and it's just not going anywhere, right? There could be a scenario where the northern coastline of Puerto Rico has a lot of heavy rain and it's a lot drier to the south. I actually think this is plausible. Look at, the GFS Fajardo, 7 inches of rain. Vieques Culebra. I hope we don't get there, but in these areas, and it could be where St. Croix doesn't see nearly as much rain as St. Thomas and St. John and Roadtown and Anegada, right? Same scenario here, where the farther north you are in the Lesser Antilles, the higher the chance for some heavier rain. Anguilla, St. Martin, St. Bart, Saba, St. Eustatius. I think Barbuda and Antigua get into it as well. But then you get south towards Guadeloupe and Dominica, probably not nearly as much rain here, all right? Because that surge of moisture is going to be coming north and east like that, running into this boundary that's not going anywhere, and it just produces heavy rain every day in the same locations. And again, this is before we even get tropical system. I can do this. If I take this out until, let's go out till Tuesday, just to give you guys an idea here. Look at all that. This is, again, if the tropical system comes this way, right? You're seeing rainfall totals over a foot in a lot of areas. Now, in order to get that much rain in this area, the tropical system has to come over to be the 1-2 punch. First punch is the stalled out boundary over the next 4 or 5 days. Second punch would be the tropical system, tropical storm Patty, whatever it ends up becoming, right? If it goes north, if it goes northwest, we don't get as much rain here. And then we start talking about these areas for those amounts of rain. This is a really wet, windy, stormy, active forecast over the next 7 to 10 days for a lot of our area. And again, even in the Bahamas, that aren't going to get a lot of rain, you've got gale conditions through Friday, right? So just scattered showers for the northwest Bahamas, Building rain chances for the central and especially southeast Bahamas by Thursday. Starts to get very wet in the Turks and the Caicos as well. You still might avoid the heaviest rain, but your rain chances will go higher. Cuba's rain chances are solid. Cayman Islands rain chances slightly higher tomorrow, might dip down Wednesday, Thursday, and then after that, it is very dependent on where the tropical system goes. Belize City will stay with high rain chances each day. Cancun and Cozumel, scattered showers through Thursday. Jamaica's rain chances, 60%. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Dominican Republic, 70 to an 80% chance. That's what you're going to see. You're going to see a lot of high rain chances in a lot of our locations. Puerto Rico, 60 tomorrow, 80 Wednesday, 70 Thursday. U.S. and British Virgin Islands, 60 to 70 through Thursday. Dry in Bermuda. You guys are okay. Anguilla, St. Kitts and Nevis, Saba, St. Eustatius, St. Martin, 70% chance each day through Thursday. Antigua, Barbuda, how about 80 Wednesday, Thursday? High in Montserrat at 70%. Guadeloupe, 70% chance the next couple of days. We'll start to see the chances fall a bit, as I've mentioned, a little bit farther south that we go. Still a 60% chance each day in Dominica, 60 tomorrow Martinique, then 50 Wednesday, Thursday. St. Lucia, 50% chance tomorrow. Same thing for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, then 40 on Wednesday, Thursday. Barbados, 50% chance for tomorrow. Still could have some excessive rainfall in places like Barbados and some swells. 40 Wednesday, 30 on Thursday, and again, it is slightly drier. Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, really just isolated showers, but still pockets of heavy rain for TNT. Suriname and Guyana, 40 to 50% chance. Scattered showers for Nueva Esparta, relatively dry for the ABC Islands. There's not many areas where I don't expect there to be some good rain chances here for the week ahead. Friends, I appreciate you guys. I really do. Thanks for following us across all of our social media channels. We're on Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook. If you want to send me a picture or video, and so many of you have recently, and I really appreciate it. It does help tell the story. mymediamundo@gmail.com. Again, mymediamundo@gmail.com. Let me know who you are. Let me know exactly where that video or picture was from and when you took that picture or video so I can, again, include it in the videos and let everyone know. Friends, you have a specific question about the forecast, you can drop it in the comments section below while you're down there. Again, thank you so much for liking and subscribing. We got an active week ahead, guys. I'll keep you updated. I'm back tomorrow with all the latest in our area. Until then, you have a great one, and I'll see you soon right here at Meteo Mundo.